What if your car broke down tomorrow and you needed $1,000 to fix it? No warning, no time to prepare, because right now, nearly half of Americans can't cover that without going into debt. And the scary part is, it's not because they don't know what to do. I'm Frugal Fred, and I look at money a little differently, and today I want to show you something most people completely miss about cash. Not the basic advice you've already heard, emergency funds, rainy day savings. I'm talking about what cash actually does behind the scenes, how it changes the way you think, how you negotiate, and the opportunities that suddenly become available to you, because once you see this, you won't look at money the same way again. Let me start with a number that stopped me cold. And I've been tracking this stuff for years. 45% of Americans cannot cover a $1,000 emergency without going into debt. Not $10,000, not even $5,000, $1,000, a car repair, a broken furnace, one unexpected bill. And just like that, it's credit cards, borrowing, or financial damage control. Now here's what makes this strange. It's not like people don't know what to do. The advice is everywhere. Save 3 to 6 months of expenses. Build a safety net. So why is there such a massive gap between knowing and actually doing? Here's where it gets interesting. I think it comes down to how we think about cash. Most people see it as insurance, something boring, something you park and ignore. But that framing misses almost everything, because cash doesn't just protect you when things go wrong. It changes how your brain works. Let's start there. Researchers at Princeton and Harvard studied what financial stress does to your mind, and what they found is honestly disturbing. When you're under financial pressure, figuring out rent, juggling bills, constantly doing mental math, your cognitive ability actually drops. Not metaphorically, literally. Your brain has less bandwidth. They call this tunneling. Your focus narrows to the immediate problem in front of you, and everything else, career growth, long-term planning, even relationships, gets pushed aside. Not because you don't care, but because your brain is in survival mode. Now flip that. Imagine you have 6 months of expenses saved. You know it's there. You know you can access it. That changes everything. That background noise of stress, gone. And when it disappears, your thinking expands. You start making better decisions. You think long term. You become strategic instead of reactive. And this is where most people get it completely wrong. Because this doesn't just affect how you think, it affects how you negotiate. Picture 2 people at the same job, same role, same skills. One has savings, the other is living paycheck to paycheck. Annual review comes around. Both ask for a raise. The person with savings can push back. They can negotiate, take their time, even walk away if needed. The other person, they're negotiating with fear in the background. Every ask feels risky, and that changes the outcome. And in a second, I'm gonna show you how this one difference can quietly cost someone over $100,000 across their career. Now multiply that over 10 years, smaller raises, faster compromises, that gap can easily turn into 6 figures. Same person, same ability, different financial position. If you're getting value from this, subscribe, because this is exactly what I break down on this channel. No fluff, just the stuff that actually changes how you think about money. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Cash creates leverage everywhere. In real estate, all cash buyers often pay 9 to 10% less. Why? Certainty. No financing falling through, no delays. Speed and reliability are worth real money. And while most people can't buy a house in cash, the principle still applies. When your car breaks down, cash gives you options. Better deals, private sellers, the ability to walk away. When you're renting, landlords notice upfront payment. Even contractors sometimes offer discounts for cash. This is what most people miss. Cash isn't just safety, it's leverage, and this is where it starts to get expensive. There's something called the poverty premium, a hidden tax on being broke. You can't buy in bulk, so you pay more per item. You can't pay annually, so you pay extra monthly fees. You delay maintenance, so small problems become big ones. You can't shop around because you need it now. And all of that adds up, thousands of dollars per year, quietly. And this is where people get stuck, not because they're lazy, not because they're bad with money, but because they never had the breathing room to make a better decision in the first place. But it gets worse. Because the biggest cost isn't what you lose, it's what you never get the chance to gain. In early 2020, the stock market dropped 30% in weeks. People with cash invested, people without it Watched. Same moment, completely different outcome, and this happens everywhere. Opportunities don't wait, they go to whoever can act. So over time, the gap grows, not just from mistakes, but from missed chances. And this goes deeper than money. Should you leave a job you hate? Should you move somewhere better? Should you go back to school? Without cash, those decisions get filtered through fear. With cash, you can actually choose. And those choices shape your entire life. So how do you build this? Start simple. First goal, $1,000 to $2,000. This alone stops the cycle of emergencies and debt. Next, 3 months of expenses. Now, job loss is stressful but not catastrophic. Then 6 months. This is where everything changes. Your thinking shifts. You stop reacting and start planning. Make it automatic. Even $200 a month adds up. Consistency matters more than speed. Put it in a high-yield savings account. Earn something while staying liquid, and add a little friction. Keep it separate from your main account. Make accessing it intentional, and most importantly, define what an emergency actually is, because if you don't, everything will feel like one. Now, some people will say this is lazy money, and technically they're right about returns, but they're wrong about purpose. This isn't an investment, it's a foundation. Markets go up and down, your emergency fund doesn't, and when things go wrong, stability matters more than returns. The real cost of not having cash isn't one big moment, it's hundreds of small ones. The job you stayed in, the negotiation you didn't push, the opportunity you missed, the debt that kept growing. Each one feels small, but together, they shape your life. Cash changes that. It gives you space, clarity, leverage. It lets you stop playing defense and start playing offense. And it all comes back to where we started. If your car broke down tomorrow, would it be a crisis or just an inconvenience? That difference is everything. The real cost of not having cash isn't one big moment. It's the small decisions you didn't get to make, the opportunities you couldn't take, the risks you couldn't afford. That's how I think about money, not as security, but as leverage. And once you see it this way, it's hard to go back.